friends, fellow entrepreneurs, and Angler alums who are listening. Excited to have you back for week 2 with Miss Maria Popp. She recently, as of this last May 2025, went full-time with her business. Literally found out she was pregnant when she quit her job. And since then, she has been grinding as a full-time photographer, growing 2 beautiful humans, and just really excited to have her on for week 2. So welcome, Maria.
Thanks. I'm excited.
Okay, so yes, last week we talked about your whole story, and I just kind of put a little bit of a snippet on it. I'm thinking about the entrepreneurs who are listening, who are thinking about quitting their job and maybe are really nervous about it. What advice do you have for those entrepreneurs listening who are really scared to take that step or even begin thinking about it?
Oh, I have so many. I talked about it last week, but timing is everything. You really got to assess your plan for after. Even if your plan involves less money, kind of being in a weird transition period, like that's okay. You just have to have it planned out. You have to think about how it affects your family unit, whoever that is. For me, it was my husband, and how it affects the people around you. You have to really make sure, and this is a small town thing, that when you leave your job, you should leave on good terms. Like ideally, like I know for some people can be in crazy situations, but I was at a point where I'm like, okay, I live here. I work here. Like we do business at this bank that I worked at. And I really like the people, and I really want to have, like, I don't want to burn any bridges. I want to end it on a good note. And so I stayed a lot longer than I wanted to because I wanted to provide more value to the workplace that I respected and the people that I respected, and make sure you end on good terms there. It's never worth it to burn any bridges, in my opinion. It's just not. Especially if you're in a small town, like you're going to see them at the grocery store. You're going to work with them on boards and committees. And so that's super important to think of, how it affects those people around you and like your reputation and the community. Like that's huge. And so don't ever take it lightly and just really, really think about how it could affect multiple areas of your life.
Yeah. You mentioned quitting at the right time. How did you know it was time? What was going through your head at that moment?
For me, I just had to have closure from God, because I just knew, like, hey, I'm not in charge here. Like, you're in charge. I would follow your plan for me, whatever that is. And I really wanted to be obedient to that. Because it's not something you rush and do on a whim. You got to have closure about it. And so I was just really in prayer over that a lot. Talked it over with my husband to make sure we were on the same page. But once I felt like I internally kind of had that closure, like I've done all the good I can do here, like I'm ready for the next thing and the next challenge. That's when I was like, okay, I think we should move forward. So,
yeah. What was the biggest lesson you learned during that transition? Because I know there's a lot of things going through your head. How am I going to handle insurance? How's my husband going to take this? What is his family going to think? What was the biggest lesson that was hitting you at that time that you had to learn?
There's a lot of discipline and added responsibility that comes to that. And it is a privilege to have added responsibility. But I mean, at that point, you have the reins, like you're in charge, like in some ways, how much money you make or don't make. You have to make really wise decisions and educate yourself on like insurance and just tax planning, like lots of different things that a lot of like employers will take care of for you. And that's the benefit sometimes of having a full-time job, is a lot of that's taken care of for you. And so you just have to do your research. Like, and that's like a thing too, like a barrier that I think stops a lot of people. So you can make anything happen. And it takes time to learn and it's frustrating. But you really have to just like grow up and just do it. Do all the like not fun adult things. You got to learn about them because it's really, really important. It's like, okay, I have like nothing to fall back on anymore. Like it's just us. So I have to figure this out. And, it's a bit, but also like discipline of when you work, how often you work, how efficient you are, making sure you're not distracted, making time for the right things. So I feel like I just had to like grow up. Literally, that's how I would describe it in a few ways. Do the not fun stuff, so that you make sure that like you and your family can thrive and do well.
Yeah, for sure. That would, at 25 years old, that would be a really, that would be a wake up call and a half. So
My frontal lobe just developed.
and they say when you're pregnant also your brain starts to shrink, and it can take years for that to come, or a year or two for that to actually come back. So
Yeah, it's been a trying time.
oh man. Well, I kind of want to go into the next question. Last week you talked about entering into a very saturated market. Photography and wedding photography. It is saturated, but talk a little bit about entering into that market and what entrepreneurs should be aware of when going into something that there's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, for sure. This was something that Angler was really, just like what I learned there was really integral when I was finding out, okay, how do I have a spot in this saturated market? So you really have to think about who specifically you want to serve, like very, very, very specifically. And so like Dave goes through that in some of his classes. So my ideal client that I'm marketing towards is from a small town, or like moving to like her husband's small town, or is like very familiar with rural living. She's kind of like a type B bride, or like she's not going to care what color the napkins are. That's not going to be her biggest priority in what she's looking for. And just like lots of different things. I feel like I'm kind of type B, or I kind of was in my wedding. So I felt like I really like connect to this type of person that well. Like they just want to enjoy the day. They don't want to be stressed. Like they don't want an all day photo shoot. They want to get everything and they want it to be beautiful, but they want to be really present. And so it's just like finding out, okay, so I'm a like Nebraska wedding photographer who serves lots of rural clients in the greater Nebraska area who don't want to stress about their wedding day. And how do you find them? How do you market towards them? Like, what do you say in social media, on your website, and like selling yourself? Because I feel like I'm very similar to that bride. And so having the right wording to make sure that you get through to those people. And so, yeah, like after doing a couple weddings, I know like, okay, so this is who I work really well with. So how do I refine like who this client is? And when you think about that, there's a ton of people in rural Nebraska that are getting married, and they might not all be like your ideal client, but there's a lot of them who are looking to have like that experience in a photographer. And I said last week about experience, providing a really great experience and serving them. Like if I can find this person and convince them that I can serve them really well on their wedding day, like they'll start coming to you eventually, through time, word of mouth, Instagram marketing, like it's crazy, like what word of mouth has done. And just what people say about like working with you really matters, because that's how I find probably like 70% of my clients is word of mouth. So yeah, like once you find that, like then you're in like a little smaller market.
I really like how you have defined your customer. And I relate to this because I'm definitely type B. I don't care what the napkin color is. All right. I just want everybody to have fun and the photos to be nice, because there will be one, and there is literally one hanging on my wall that I will love. And that will be what I roll with for the next, 50 years. Uh, will you share a little bit more about defining that customer and how you find that person?
Yeah, so that comes through a lot of just experience. So that's where working with my sister helped a lot. And so one other thing that I do is I assist. And you just like the more you talk to people on their wedding day, like in that setting, you just know more like who you jive with. Um, and then because like sometimes there's people who were more type A and they really did care about these smaller things. Um, which is great. It's just different than me. Um, like smaller details that I was like, oh, okay, I know that's important to them. So I have to like really work to like focus and make sure that's like that's set, that's good. And that's probably not something I would have cared about. Um, so like it still works, but it doesn't like jive like quite as well. I feel like I don't understand their mind quite as much. But when I worked with more like type B, like more relaxed people, if something was missing or like something like a decoration was set out of place or it broke, I'd be like, do you just want to throw it out? Because it's broke, or like, you just want to leave it? And she's like, yeah, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. No problem. There's just like so many little things that can go wrong. And like my bride's just like, they don't care about the small details, like it's not going to affect their day. So you just working with lots of different types of people helps you kind of know, like at the end of the day, when you're saying goodbye to them, like, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this day. I had so much fun with you. It was such an honor to capture your day. I love you guys. Like, I'm obsessed with my clients. Like, I love them and I want to be their best friends. Like, you just know, like when you jive with people and like when you do that, you know that they feel like comfortable as well. And that's like your ideal for both of you, for both parties. Like that's the best possible outcome. It makes the days go by really fast, stress-free, and you just trust each other. And so when you have that, it makes a really big difference versus when you don't, like with someone maybe that you don't connect with as much. And you can still serve them really well, but there's just, yeah, it's just a lot of jiving. Like there's a lot of like personality stuff that goes into working with your wedding photographer. I feel like people don't a lot.
I think when you talk about personality things and just trust, kind of reminds me of just the vulnerability that it takes in building that trust. Has there been or a time that you're willing to share that's been like a super challenging moment that you like the vulnerability just took over and it was just really challenging?
So sometimes family photos can be really challenging because there's lots of family dynamics. And you have to be aware of a lot of those dynamics beforehand because you don't want to offend anyone or bring up a sore subject. 2 weeks ago, I looked at the father of the bride and then I called him the name of the mom's new boyfriend.
Oh no.
I knew, like I had it on a list and I had it bolded. and marked, so I didn't do that. But there was just like people swarming everywhere. And yeah, my pregnancy brain did not help either. But I was like, Billy, and his name was George. And so I felt so bad. And sometimes, like in the thick of that, it's just hard. Like it happens to everyone. Sometimes families can be messy, and sometimes you don't do the best job. So that's why I say like the planning and the prep work is really important.
Yeah.
But like people trust you with a lot of like intimate moments of their day, and like you're just like up close and personal. And so yeah, you have to be really careful with that sometimes, otherwise you'll offend someone. Luckily they were like, it's okay. Our family is huge. Welcome to the family. It's fine.
I love that. So you're obviously creative, running your own business. What's been the hardest lesson you've learned since going full time with your photography?
You said creative, and that just kind of brought me to like one specific thing that I've thought about is kind of staying relevant, because a lot of people love trends in the photography industry. And it's kind of a challenge to figure out like what you want to do with your work and your style. Like if you want to change that at all, like kind of for like where trends are going, or if you want to stick with like what you know, what you like. And so I really had to like juggle with that a little bit and think about okay, like who am I trying to please? Like if I'm doing this, I'm trying to be all trendy. Is it really like my work, or am I like acting kind of like an imposter because I'm not doing what I would do? And so that's really hard to assess. Like, do I want to change? Do I want to adapt? Do I not? Because things come and go a lot. And that makes a big difference. Like, I know there was one where I don't want warm tones. I think it makes everyone look orange. I don't want that. And so I was kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, well, I know I shoot warmer, but I really want to book like this client and this wedding because I like kind of need the money, and I want to get this wedding, but that's not me. I can't change my work for what someone else wants. Like when I go through and I edit all of my photos, I really try and think about making those photos as good as I possibly can in my mind and being really proud of them, because ultimately that's what people book me for my work. So I need it to be mine. I know a lot of photographers struggle with that.
Yeah. I want to transition to the last point that we kind of talked about before this podcast, and it could be relevant to transitioning from your job to a full-time entrepreneur, or it could be just something that's been recently on your heart. But share a little bit about being unsatisfied with the work that you do.
Yeah. In Angler, they talk a lot about building your own business, building your own life, working for yourself. And you always think that that's the goal ultimately, but there's just a fire that's lit under you a little bit more when you enter the opposite of that, when you have to work for someone else. And I didn't understand that until so I graduated college, we got married, and then I started my full-time job. I wanted the experience. I wanted to get to know people in the community. I didn't know how long I planned to do it, but I didn't think it would be like that bad. But like a few months in, I was like, man, like what they were talking about in Angler, like really rings true. Like, I cannot do this. Like, I can't do this forever. I can't do this till I'm 65, 67. I was not made to operate this way. I can't do it. I hated waking up the same time every day, sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day, being stuck inside. Like, it was a good job. It was a good job. I just didn't like the format of it. Like computer work, being inside all day. I didn't get to work with a ton of people or customers. So it was just maddening to me. And that really messes with you mentally when you're not doing work that you love or that you feel is purposeful or like fits your strengths. Because I was doing new stuff, wasn't my forte. Like my forte is really like relationship building, and I didn't have like any piece of that in my job. So it just drains you completely. And it makes you dread a lot of stuff. It removes lots of energy. You feel very lethargic. And it makes like working towards goals really hard because it feels like it sucks out all your energy. And I know people who work full-time jobs and they really enjoy them, because if you're doing work that you're more fashioned to do, kind of fits your strengths, working with really good people. And I worked with great people. Like, it can be easier, but I was just in the wrong role for me. And that made me think like a few months in, like, okay, I have to grow this business because I can't do this. I can't. I don't want to. I will do anything so I don't have to do this for the rest of my life. Like, my family, like growing up, they were all entrepreneurs. So I never like fully understood the town job or like appreciated the sacrifice that some people made to do that. Like a lot of like farm and ranch wives and moms will work in town to help support the ranch. And it just made me respect people a lot more who do that, who make that sacrifice. And I didn't want to do that. And I knew I had something that I could create value with. And it just, it lights a fire in you really quick that you got to get out. Otherwise, you get really stuck in the cycle, in the norm, and it goes on and on and on. So yeah, you really learn about it after Angler. Like, oh man, this hits a little bit harder, like what they were talking about. So that's when like all my training and everything I was taught like really kicked in, and I was really thankful for Angler for that.
Yeah. Yeah, big transition. My last question I have is, what advice would you give to another creative or an entrepreneur who is afraid to make that jump because they don't have everything figured out yet? You can always go back and get a job if it doesn't work out. Like, if you don't try it now, like, when will you try it? Like, why would you not? Because especially when you're younger, you're such low risk for, like, you're not supporting a family yet. It's just you. Like, you can make anything work. And if it doesn't, like, go get another job. But like, what if you can make it work? Yeah. And if you just dedicate that time to do that, like, go through like a short season where it's really hard. Imagine like if you can make twice your salary, if you like for 1 year kind of operate in this transitory period, just do it. Like, don't be scared of no insurance. Like, you're gonna be fine. Like, we take it too seriously. Just jump because you can. Especially when you're young. Like, you can always go back if you need to. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for our listeners for bearing with us on this journey with spotty Wi-Fi. We're working on it. And I just am really thankful to hop on a call with you today, because I know once we graduate, times go by so fast that I don't get a chance to see everybody and maintain and keep up on relationships once everyone is gone. So this is just a great way for me to do that. But I always love catching up with you. Love hearing what you're doing. I'm so glad that you finally went full time with your business, because I remember when you were telling me about your job before. It's really inspiring to hear that you've done it and that you took that leap of faith. So kudos to you. I hope that you are feeling great and that you continue to feel great, and that business just continues to thrive as you prepare to bring two little kiddos into this world. You'll be meeting me at 2 here real fast. So go you.
Well, I'm just glad selfishly that I just get to talk to you. It's been great. I'm really thankful for your thoughtful questions and on.
For sure, for sure. Well, Angler is always excited to have you back in the space. So thank you so much. And we'll see you hopefully soon.
Yeah, absolutely. See ya.
Thanks, Maria.